Pause. If you haven't watched part 1, go check that out first. This video is part 2 of 4. If you see text on the screen, pause the video if necessary and read it. The text will be important additional information.
Next thing is protective styles. So with protective styling, you want to, the main point about that is that it helps with low manipulation. Low manipulation is a big part in growing your hair. So the reason why low manipulation is good is because you're giving your hair a break. You're like, you know, you're not constantly having your hands in it. You're just letting your hair sit and it be tucked away, which is what you're essentially doing in protective styling. But the thing about it is you want to still take care of your hair underneath. So if I had a wig, for example, a removable wig that I can put on and take off, my hair's braided down underneath, I'm still going to want to make sure that I'm taking care of my hair. So I'm going to make sure I dry shampoo my scalp. Eventually, after a couple of weeks, I want to make sure I wash my scalp, make sure I still put back some moisture in on top of those braids. And if I need to, put a little oil on my scalp when needed. You know, you want to make sure you're taking care of your scalp and your hair underneath. Like you can spray little spray leave-ins on your hair, little moisture things on your hair as well. On the braids and everything when you're not wearing the wig and you're at home and you just air it out a little bit, let that dry and soak into your hair, and then go back to wearing the wig. But you still want to take care of your hair under the wig. Don't let your hair sit there for 2 months, 3 months, and you haven't even dry shampooed it. You didn't wash it. You didn't actually like put oils on your scalp. You didn't like spray any moisture in there. You don't want to do that. You want to still take care of your hair underneath. You know, it does alleviate you from having to constantly be in your hair and doing your hair all the time. But at the same time, you need to, again, still take care of your hair. And I'm just going to keep reiterating that because sometimes when people have protective styles, they forget about taking care of their real hair. I know it's like, oh, it's a relief, but you still have to take care of your hair. And so once you do that, if you take care of your hair while it's in a protective style, you will see that it really does like show growth. For me, I protective style for 2 months at a time. And the other key thing that I found, not only, you know, because of the low manipulation by doing your protective styles and making sure you take care of your hair underneath, I also, after 2 months of wearing the hair, every like 1 to 2 weeks, I'd give my hair a break. Sometimes even a month. And when I give my hair a break, I let my hair breathe, and then I like do little things with my hair. So I would say, you know, giving your hair a break and actually wearing your hair out 1 week to maybe 4 weeks after having your hair in a 2 to 3 month style for a while will definitely be good for your hair too. Letting it breathe, because protective styling is very good. It will help. You will see growth. And it's not that when you don't have protective style that your hair isn't growing, but I think it's the fact that you are tucking your hair away and you're not really looking at it constantly like every day as you would if your hair was out. So when that 2 to 3 months is up, you just see that, oh, my hair has grown this much, you know, and it just seems more like, oh my gosh, like it's really grown because you hadn't seen it for so long, you know. So but the protective styling and the low manipulation is important, even if you don't have like any weaves. Like, so maybe you don't have a wig that you could wear, or maybe, you know, you don't do crochet braids or sew-in, or maybe box braids or robe twists, like maybe, or Senegalese twists, maybe you don't do those. But you can do your hair into twists, like small twists, and you can wear your hair like that for a while, wear it for a month like that. Just make sure you wash your roots and do whatever you have to do if need be, or dry shampoo them and put your oils in and stuff. And you can do it like that to help to not like touch your hair as often. You just don't want to leave that in too long because you don't want your hair to start locking up. But that's another reason why I say protective styles are important, because of that low manipulation that you're doing with your hair and not seeing it as much as you would. You definitely will see some growth. One more thing on that, you do want to give your hair that break after you have that 2 to 3 month protective style. You definitely want to give your hair that 1 to 4 weeks break. I always try to at least do 2 weeks, let my hair just breathe, and that also gives me time to, let's say learn to do my hair and do different styles with my hair, because if you're someone who's transitioning or newly natural, you're gonna want to know how to do your hair, because eventually once it gets longer, once it's long, you can still learn how to do it, but I mean, it would be better if you're learning as you go, so that by the time it does get long, you're used to doing different styles and see how it works, because each stage things change. So from when your hair was shorter, how it looked in certain styles, to how it looks when your hair is longer in certain styles, and how the styles come out, things change. So next thing is trims. So a lot of people don't think that they, want to cut their hair. They just, oh, I want it to grow, I want it to grow. But you got to remember that the ends are the oldest part of your hair. The ends get snagged, they get tangled, they get knotted, sometimes they split, and eventually they're so wear down that they're really bad and you have to let them go. So, or you can have damage from different things, whether it's heat damage, chemical damage. It could just be different things depending on what you're doing with your hair. But I will say trimming is important. You want to get rid of all those bad ends. You don't want to keep those bad ends, because remember, the tips are to grow healthy long natural hair. Definitely trim. Now with trims, you want to keep up a schedule with your trims. I would say first look at your hair, see how it is. You get a trim, measure out. Let's say you can start with 6 months. Every 6 months, I get a trim. And that's twice a year. Very reasonable. You don't want to trim your hair too often, because if you're trimming it too often, you're not going to see growth. And you might feel like, oh, my hair is just growing so slow, or it's not growing as fast at all. But you also got to think about too, in another way, it's like if you're cutting off your ends as fast as your hair is growing in. So every time you got hair that grew in, but you're cutting off about as much that grew in and everything, you're never gonna see the growth. It's gonna look like it's stagnant when it's really not. It's just that you're cutting off too much. And that also can go for maybe your hair's breaking off at the same rate. Like if you're ever in a situation you feel like, okay, my hair is not growing, it could be your hair's breaking off at the same rate that it's growing. Have a set schedule. So every 6 months, see how your hair is. If your hair needs to be trimmed a little bit earlier, trim it a little earlier, because I find that sometimes I think 5 months is when I need to get the trim, and so I started trying to go a little earlier. So I always say 5 to 6 months, but I try to just do it twice a year. I don't try to trim any more than that. So if it's gonna be 5 months, okay, so be it, 5 months. But if it's gonna be 6 months, then but I look at my hair to see, because if by 5, I always like check it too and try to make sure. So if by 5 months I feel like, okay, it needs to like get trimmed before that 6 month, I definitely will go in and get that trim. So I know the importance of it. It helps too when when you're starting to detangle your hair. It also can take longer because the ends are so like bad and everything, they tangle up, and it's harder to detangle through and everything. And it would be easier, like once I get that trim, it's always so much easier. I'm able to do my hair faster. My ends feel so good, and then the ends of my hair will twist properly and it will look nice. So making sure you trim is really important. It's nothing to be scared of. It's not, yes, you need to get a trusted stylist, because it's possible that some people can be scissor happy, but once you find a trusted stylist that you can get your hair trimmed, then you'll be comfortable, you'll be fine. And just make sure you just do the trims when you need to do them. So going into my next step, properly detangling. So when I say that, I mean like, don't just rake through your hair and just tear your hair out. When you are going to detangle, I always dampen my hair just a little bit. Like I just spray a little bit of water and dampen it. And I get like a conditioner or something that I use for pre-pooing, and I put that on and I detangle before I go to wash my hair. So I do detangling before I wash my hair and have a section which I would call like pre-pooing in a sense, and I like to do that. I think that's very helpful. It helps my wash day to go a little faster. I will also have like a detangling video possibly. If I do already have it posted, I will put it'll come across the screen in the cards and also be in the description box down below. If it's not posted yet, it's definitely coming. But I show how I detangle my hair. I show what I do. And just like I said, like, Pre-pooing, if you don't know, is essentially detangling and moisturizing your hair before you go into the shower and use your shampoo, because the shampoo tends to strip your hair of all the moisture. So the pre-pooing helps to have some moisture in your hair before you go in and it's stripping it, but it also helps with detangling, and it kind of conditions your hair just a little bit before you go in to do that process of stripping your hair and cleansing your hair. But you can get different shampoos. You don't have to get one that's going to completely strip your hair and make it like dry and brittle. Also, let's say you're not detangling before you wash your hair. You're just detangling just to redo a style, like that restyle / re-moisturize midweek type deal that I was talking about and that I also have a video on, right? So if you're going to do it like that, you're not going to do it before you wash and all of that, but you're going to essentially wet your hair, and you're still going to detangle with something in your hair. So you put your leave-in conditioner in your hair, then if you need to still have something else, you can put your moisturizer, but with the leave-in conditioner and the moisturizer, you're going to detangle through your hair. You know, take your time in doing it. Again, you know, watching that detangling video will definitely help for you guys to see. But you want to take your time with it, and you want to make sure your hair is moist and before you detangle and soft. And the reason why I say that is because you want to be able to get that comb to glide through. You want your fingers to glide through, that Demon brush to glide through. You just want it to be able to glide through. It gives you more slip. And as you are, let's say you're working your way from the roots down, or if you go from down up, however you detangle, you know, once everything comes through and you're separating at the ends of your hair, regardless of whatever way you go, you have enough slip on those ends for them not to like tangle back on each other and to like snap or break, because now it was coated with that moisture that you put on it before you go to detangle. So that helps with less breakage, less you know, on the ends of your hair from detangling. And having less breakage means you're retaining more of your length, and that's important. If you're retaining your length, then you know that as your hair grows out, the length that you retain, you're going to see your growth. You're going to see that growth coming in. So, and that's what's important. You know, you're trying to grow that hair. I hope this video has helped you and given you value. If it has, share this video with your friends and your family. Like this video and comment down below, are you trying these tips that I suggested? Is there some new ones that I suggested that you weren't doing before? It's a community. You can help someone else out by commenting and, you know, saying what works for you. It may help them out, you know. So let's just share all the knowledge in the comment section and be respectful, and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified of my future video uploads, so that way you don't miss out on my future videos. I want to help you get to your hair goals as well and grow your hair to longer lengths that you've never grown it before or never thought that it could grow. Thank you for watching my video. I will see you in my next one. Bye.